Hey guys, it's Mad Chen here. I hope you're all doing well. Would you like to know how to make a seamless mosaic pattern in Procreate? In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how so that you can make stunning results like this. Welcome back everyone. So first let's talk about the canvas size I'm using for this project. I'm using a 12-inch by 12-inch canvas with 300 dpi. If you'd like to know how to create this canvas, I will leave a tutorial link up above and also in the description below. So now let's get on with the tutorial. First, let's go to Actions up here, go to the Canvas tab, then toggle on Drawing Guide. Then we need to tap on Edit Drawing Guide just under. Then go to the bottom right of the screen and tap on Symmetry. Then we'll click on Options here. In the Options menu, make sure you have Radial selected, and we also need to make sure that Assisted Drawing is toggled on down here. Then we just need to click on Done up here on the top right, which will leave us with guidelines on our canvas. If you'd like to master how to use the Symmetry tool, I'll leave a tutorial link up above and also in the description below. Next, I'll choose the brush, so I'll go to the brush library, then click on the calligraphy category and select the monoline brush. Then I'll go to the color wheel and I'll choose the color gray. For this project, feel free to choose any colors that you'd like to work with. I'm just starting off with gray for this project. We're pretty much ready to start drawing. I'm going to create an original design and play around with a variety of shapes. I think I'll start off with some leaf or petal designs, then I'll gradually add some extra designs as I go. So first I'd like to start with some petals, and I'm liking the look of that, so I'll go ahead and add some thicker petals in between. Next I want to cover the corners, so I'll come down here and draw a leaf shape. Then I'm gonna draw some smaller leaves just beside the larger one. I'll go back to color palettes this time and choose a dark blue, and I'll draw an arc like so. Then I'm gonna close my shape by drawing another arc just underneath. Then I'll fill it in with the same blue. I'll come back to the middle flower and I'll draw a blue leaf in the middle of the thicker petals, and I'll also fill it in with blue. It's looking pretty good so far. Now that I've got my base design, I'd like to add a smaller flower in the middle of the canvas. So I'll go back to layers and add a new layer. Now here's a Procreate tip. Every time you add a new layer, you must toggle on Assisted Drawing in Symmetry. Otherwise, the Symmetry tool will not work. So I'll go ahead and hit done, and I'll come back to the canvas so that I can continue with the small flower. I think I want to incorporate some lines into my design. I'll go back to using gray and draw some lines on the larger flower. I like the look of that, so I'll add another. Now I want to put this new design onto the edges of my canvas, so I'll go back to layers and I'll duplicate this design by swiping left on that layer and clicking on duplicate. Then I'll go to the transform tool up here so that I can move the duplicate copy to the right of the canvas. Then I'll go back to the original design and make another duplicate so that I can drag that copy to the top edge of the canvas. And I'll keep going back to the original design and make 2 more copies so that I can drag them to the left and bottom sides of the canvas. After I've done that, I'll go back to layers and click on the first layer. This time I'm going to add a large blue leaf on the corners. If you're enjoying the content so far, you can give this video a like and comment below to let me know if this is helpful. If you have any problems, you can also leave your questions down below. So now let's get back to the tutorial. This time I'll go to where the lines meet and I'll draw a blue circle like so. Then I'll add another blue circle just here around the same size as the first one. Next I'll add some more lines. I think I'll double that, so I'll draw another line just above it. Then I'll go ahead and add some more dots. I just want to remind you guys to just have fun and enjoy your time as you draw. You can pretty much do whatever shapes you like for this mosaic design. This is looking pretty good so far, so let's continue. So this time I'll switch back to gray and I'll add some dots on the inner edges of our leaves at the corners of the canvas. I'll make the dots for the middle one a little larger. Next, I'll go back to the color wheel and choose white and add a large white circle just here. Then I'm gonna add 2 smaller circles just above and below the large one. Go to the blue leaves in the middle of the canvas and I'll add some white circles here too. I think it needs some smaller white dots, so I'll go ahead and add those. So far we have a beautiful design, but I'm not finished yet. Next, I'll switch back to gray and I'll add some gray dots like so, making it form a square shape around the main flower. Then I'll go down here and add some more gray dots around the leaves at the corners. I'm liking what I have so far, so I'm gonna go to layers and I'll merge all of the layers together. Then I'll switch back to white and I'll draw some lines on our smaller flower in the middle of the canvas. Then I'll switch back to blue again and I'll come down here and draw a semicircle and fill it in with blue. I want to add some more designs on the blue petals, so I'll come down here and switch back to white and draw some additional lines, then color it in. I'm liking what I have so far and I'm pretty happy with the colors. However, if you wanted to change your colors, you can do so by going back to the color wheel and choosing any color you'd like, for example this orange here, and just drag it onto any part of your design. Don't miss out on one of my other tutorials which teaches you how to turn this design into a seamless repeat pattern. I'll leave the tutorial link for you up above and also in the description below. You can also learn more about Procreate through watching my other tutorials, and I'll see you in the next Procreate tutorial. And as always, thanks for watching.